find her alone rather than in Bolton's embrace. She stood in the centre of the chamber, tapping her closed fan on the palm of her hand, her full lips compressed into a tight line of disapproval. Her chin tipped up in defiance. He detected not a hint of surprise in her expression. "Your Grace?" She curtsied lower than necessary, giving him a perfect view of her ample bosom. When she rose with equal elegance, she pinned him with a forthright stare. "Perhaps you'd care to explain why you've been following me for the last month." Not empty-headed, then. A keen wit sparkled in her lively green gaze. He regarded her with a new sense of appreciation. She'd noticed him. No matter. He relied upon his visibility as a cover. He flaunted his wealth, his lovers. He played the role of seasoned rake. Meanwhile, he observed. And everything he'd observed thus far suggested that the vixen before him needed to be put in her place. She was too bold, too lovely, too blatantly sexual. Everything about her was designed to make men lust. Lust they did. She'd set the ton on its ear. Rumour had it that her cunning papa was about to marry her off to the elderly Lord Breckley. She appeared to be doing her best to thwart him. He fixed her with a haughty look. "I don't believe we've been introduced." She gave a soft, throaty laugh that sent a streak of unwanted heat to his groin. "You mean to rely on your fine English manners now, when you've been watching me all this time? How droll. But I already know who you are, just as you must surely know who I am." His gaze travelled over her, inspecting her in a way that was meant to discomfit. Perhaps he'd underestimated her, for in the privacy of the chamber she seemed wilier than he'd credited. "I watch everyone." Tap went her fan against her palm again, the only outward sign of her vexation aside from her frown. "As do I, Your Grace. You aren't as subtle as you must suppose yourself. I must admit I found it rather odd that you'd want to spy upon my tête-à-tête with Viscount Wilford." Miss Vanreid was thoroughly brazen, daring to refer to her ruinous behaviour as though nothing untoward had occurred. It struck him that she'd known he watched her, and had deliberately exchanged kisses with Presley and Wilford, perhaps even for his benefit. He crossed the chamber, his footfalls muted by thick carpeting. Lady Beresford's taste had always run to the extravagant. He didn't stop until he nearly touched Miss Vanreid's skirts. Still, she held firm, refusing to retreat. Some inner demon made him skim his forefinger across the fine protrusion of her collarbone. Just a ghost of a touch. Awareness sparked between them. Her eyes widened almost imperceptibly. "Wilford and Presley are green lads." He took care to keep his tone bland. "Bolton is a fox in the hen-house. You'd do best to stay away from him." She swallowed, and he became fascinated by her neck. The way her ostentatious diamonds moved, gleaming even in the dim light. "I'm disappointed that you think me as frumpy and witless as a hen. Thank you for your unnecessary concern, Your Grace, but foxes don't frighten me. They never have." Her bravado irritated him. Even her scent was bold. An exotic blend of bergamot, ambergris, and vanilla, carrying to him and invading his senses. He should never have touched her, for now he couldn't stop. Following her collarbone to the trim on her bodice, the pink roses so strategically placed. He didn't touch the roses. No, his finger skimmed along the fullness of her creamy breast. Her skin was soft, as lush as a petal. "You do seem to possess an absurd predilection for your ruination, Miss Vanreid." She startled him by stepping nearer to him, her skirts billowing against his legs. "One could say the same for you. Why do you watch, Your Grace? Does it intrigue you?"